landing on a drone ship?
No, I don't think Super Heavy will land ever on a drone ship for the simple reason that Super Heavy doesn't have legs. So the only way that you can land Super Heavy is if you have the legs outside of it. That is the chopstick arms on the launch tower. So yeah. But you can see there, for example, Falcon 9, you can see on the right hand of your screen, it has landing legs. So that it's a bit of an advantage to be able to land on a drone ship, don't you think?
Yeah, I think landing legs may help a little bit. And it's really neat how SpaceX has kind of moved from, landing legs. Early Starship renders did show them having some kind of landing legs on the booster, or landing, I guess, like pegs. I don't really know how to describe it, just like little stubs that they would land on or something. And yeah, it's neat how they've moved to a catch system, which still boggles my mind to think about, but it's probably going to work someday. And they're going to get a live shot there from Fleet Cam in Port Canaveral showing a Falcon 9 booster that freshly came back from port after going to space. That is going to have its legs either retracted or removed, depending on how they fared. I believe, is that 1058, Alex, or has that been already processed?
That is already processed. That is B1073 from the Starlink 627 mission.
Gotcha. That's incredibly sooty already. That's amazing to see. Yeah, that's a relatively new booster in terms of the Falcon, I guess, booster catalog. So very cool to see that. Let's see, Michael Geeb here saying stubby nozzle. There's been so many people insisting on stubby nozzles here. I think Max has kind of infected this community here with the stubby hype. I don't like it. Michael, we don't think there's going to be a stubby nozzle. There may be, but given the performance this vehicle needs, it's probably going to be a full MVAC nozzle on here. If anyone's confused here by what we mean when we say stubby, there are the Falcon 9 upper stage engine can have two types of nozzles: a full nozzle for full performance and thrust and efficiency, but it can also have a much shorter nozzle, which is a little less efficient, but also saves a lot of money on materials. The nozzles are made out of a niobium alloy, which is pretty rare. I think SpaceX is actually one of the largest purchasers of niobium in the world. So it's neat to see that's why they have gone to a stubby nozzle on some missions that don't need the full performance. Just got a store ordered there in the upper right-hand screen from shop.nasaspaceflight.com. Someone has purchased a Flight 2 patch for the Starship mission. Very cool to see that. Once again, shop.nasaspaceflight.com is a great way to support the work that we do here. A wide variety of items are available from Starship to Falcon and everywhere in between.
Including a holiday merch as well.
Yes,
I have already ordered.
Knitted sweaters, which is incredible for me to see. I love it so much, and Polly nailed those designs. So yeah, some beautiful Starship knitted sweaters. I think there's 4 options, Alex, right? There's 4 completely different designs. So if you have your Falcon 9 people, yeah, there we go. We have a Dragon sweater. We have some Starship sweaters, all in different colors, different sizes. We have from extra small to triple XL. So it should fit most people, which is great to see. Several different designs and colors. So I'm sure you'll find something that you love. I really love the Raptor one because it really kind of gives that Christmas tree vibe to it. And I know it's exactly what they were going for. That's
it
I always love
looks like
seeing
it.
that.
Yeah.
It does, right? The green nozzle really helps it. But yeah, once again, shop.nasaspaceflight.com, another great way to support. And anytime that you purchase something on the store, you will get a little flash card coming in the upper right-hand corner. And you can leave a store message as well to say hi to us on stream. Patrick Hackmeyer here has become a PadWrap member along with James Gerald Eckhart. Thank you to the 2 of you for that. We appreciate all of your support, and we hope that you enjoy all the perks that come along with your memberships. We have some awesome behind-the-scenes videos and pictures coming out, so be sure to keep your eyes out for that. Hello here with a 7-month Red Team membership milestone. They're saying Starship Heavy with 3 boosters and 1 Starship going to Pluto. That sounds even overkill for Pluto. I don't know about that, but that's a pretty awesome concept. And I would say if they do go ahead with that, they need to call it Starship Super Duper Heavy. That I will die on that hill. I really like that name, and I will trademark that.
So right now you can see the vent on the Stromba has come back. That indicates the wrap up of the liquid oxygen load on the second stage. That means Falcon 9 is now fully loaded with propellants for the launch in just 1 minute and 36 seconds.
Beautiful. Now again, yeah, like Alex has said, they're topping off propellants now. They're going to be clearing out those propellant lines on the strongback. The reason you want to clean those out is because you're about to have a rocket launch next to them. You do not want anything flammable or explosive inside your hardware because SpaceX wants to refurbish and turn around this hardware as quick as they possibly can. If you have a fire on your strongback or equipment damage, that lowers your turnaround speed. So that may mean you have to do a day delay or a few days delay. So get all your propellant out of your strongback, make the area safe and not explosive, and it'll really help you in the future. Now we're going below T-minus 1 minute, so the vehicle is now pressurizing itself for flight. The flight computers have taken over, and in a few seconds we will get the final go for launch from the launch director. I love seeing that crew tower there. It's so mind-numbing how quickly that was built, and now it's just here. I love seeing that. All right, we're coming up on T-minus 30 seconds here until liftoff.
And we are go for launch.
Beautiful. Now, because you're going to hear some really loud launch audio here coming in about 20 seconds, we're going to be quiet as soon as the audio comes in. We will join you past max Q, or whenever the audio begins to die down. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy some beautiful sounds of Falcon 9 carrying 2 SES-03B M-Power satellites to medium Earth orbit. Going past T-minus 10 seconds here. Pad deluge is activated. We have engine ignition and liftoff of Falcon 9, carrying the third pair of O3B M-Power satellites to medium Earth transfer orbit. Vehicle's cleared the tower. It's going to begin to pitch down range, right on into the clouds. Oh, and out of the clouds. Stand by for the launch audio, and we will see you on the other side. All right, and we are at team plus 1 minute and 23 seconds into today's flight. We have passed through max Q, which is a period of maximum aerodynamic pressure. We hope you enjoyed those launch audio that we had there from Max out in the field. It was a pretty overcast day, so we didn't get too much of a ground track there, but we were happy to see the rocket through some of those clouds. Now we're getting up into T plus 2 minutes into the flight. In about 30 seconds. Oh, beautiful. We can see it peeking through some clouds right there. We're about 25 seconds away from the main engines cutting off. Those 9 first stage engines are going to shut down. They'll coast for a few seconds. We will have stage separation followed by second stage engine ignition. It'll be very rapid turnaround, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And some great onboard shots today, showing the clouded over East Coast and Atlantic Ocean there. Vehicle is about halfway to space, just passing 50 kilometers in altitude. Once again, coming up on main engine cutoff here. And there we have it, main engine cutoff. The 9 first stage Merlin engines have shut down. We're going to stand by for stage separation, followed by ignition of the single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. And we can see that happening right there. Now, the first stage is going to kind of keep itself oriented, begin to slowly flip around. The first stage is going to be landing downrange on SpaceX's drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas. That's going to be another downrange landing for this booster on its 9th flight. You see the grid fins beginning to deploy there.
That was a nice launch.
It really was. It was nice to see it kind of peek through the clouds a little bit here and there. It kind of gave it some nice, uh, depth to it, I guess you could say.
It's interesting because it was cloudy, but also like blue skies in between. It's really interesting
Yeah.
when that thing happens.
Yep, it's really beautiful out there in Florida for a launch. I highly recommend, if you have the ability and the time, check out a launch from Florida. You will never forget it. It is unbelievable. We got a shot there of the payload adapter. We have payload fairing separation as well. Now, those two fairings are going to re-enter the atmosphere and parachute down into the Atlantic Ocean. The SpaceX ship Bob is out there to recover the two of those fairings and bring them back for another flight. Unfortunately, SpaceX is not super public and transparent on the exact timeline of fairing reflights, so we don't know exactly what missions those fairings have flown on, but judging by their sootiness, they've probably flown to space a few times. And again, Alex, while we have a second, what is the aim of fairing refurbishment? Is it just that it takes a lot of money to make those fairings? They're saving money with it, or is it to help with production? What is kind of the goal there of fairing refurbishment?
Well, it's a bit of everything, right? Because if you can reuse them, not only you save money, you also don't need to produce a new one. So the more that you reuse them, the less that you have to produce, and that means if the time that it takes for you to produce them is more than the time that it takes for you to refurbish them, that means that you can basically reuse them faster than you can produce them. I think that was a mouthful, but what I'm trying to say is that you can fly more often. That's the bottom line of here, right? That you can fly more often instead of producing new ones, and frankly, that's a really good bonus of recovering vehicles. It's not just the savings in money, but also the fact that you can launch more often. So if you can launch more often, you can get more revenue from those launches. And that's good. You can get more money. That's, yeah.
I mean, more money, more better, as Jack would say.
Exactly.
But while SpaceX has kind of pioneered fairing refurbishment and recovery, they're not the only company pursuing it, right, Alex? There's a certain other company bringing a very large rocket onto the
Mm.
scene that seems to be doing some fairing recovery tests. And who is that, Alex?
Yeah, that is Blue Origin. It looks like they might be looking at reusing the New Glenn fairings. Frankly, I'm surprised that no one has tried other than that Blue Origin, because seeing how easy, quote unquote, easy for Falcon 9 is, where you just put a few thrusters on it and a parachute and just drop it in the ocean, that it's quite easy compared to, booster landings where you have to precisely, just like we're seeing in about 2 or 3 minutes, we're going to see the booster going through transonic speeds and having to, target a pinpoint landing on a drone ship 685 kilometers downrange. That is quite complicated in terms of, propulsion, guidance, multiple things, right? Where fairing recovery seems to be much easier in that sense.
Yeah, and I know that ULA has looked into it as well for Vulcan. And actually, real quick, we'll pause that conversation because we're about to see stage 1 entry burn. That's going to ignite 1, then 3 of the first stage engines just to slow the vehicle down, but also to use that engine exhaust as a sort of makeshift heat shield against atmospheric reentry. It's a method called supersonic retropropulsion. Don't worry, there's not going to be a quiz. You don't need to remember that. But it's a method to basically use your engine exhaust as a heat shield against atmospheric reentry heating. It's a very cool method that Falcon 9 has really pioneered based off of NASA studies. And it is the last burn before the landing burn. And we've seen shut off right there. Now, as
I'm
the vehicle gets...
seeing.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
go ahead.
Alex.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, as the vehicle gets lower in the atmosphere, you'll begin to see those grid fins really begin to take over maneuvering there. You can see the RCS thrusters kind of giving a little push here and there, but they're beginning to get not as powerful as you get lower in the atmosphere. And also keep an eye out on those grid fins. We may see some really nice transonic Mach effects coming off of those grid fins. Some little streaks of wind and I don't know the exact term, but atmospheric effects coming off of those. So keep an eye out on those. And what were you going to say before, Alex?
Yeah, no, well, that we had a cloudy launch. It seems like might be a bit of a cloudy landing as well here, because it just passed through some upper level clouds, the booster. But it appears that, usually when there's clouds and humidity and everything, that strengthens the sound of the vehicle. So we see people in the back channels already being like, oh my god, this is so loud.
That's amazing.
There
And
we go, we have
we're going to
Seco.
see, yep, perfect, Seco, second stage engine cutoff. So the second stage is now in a low Earth parking orbit. It's going to reignite in the coming minutes. But right now, we're going to be focusing on first stage coming down through the atmosphere. Now, again, the stage is landing in the Atlantic Ocean. It's going to target a pinpoint landing on the drone ship, a Shortfall of Gravitas, which is SpaceX's newest addition to their fleet. And again, it's not too uncommon to see some video cutouts here. Again, this is live video from a moving rocket going almost Mach 1. Oh, look at those clouds there. Got some live drone ship views here.
Oh, look at that.
What a pinpoint landing there.
That's
That
the
is the
ninth landing
ninth.
for that booster.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Alex.
We're thinking the same.
Exactly. You're very statistic, and I really like that. There we go. Another landing for this booster, a successful 9th launch for this vehicle. Now, the second stage is in a parking orbit. You can see it right there. Got some beautiful shots of what's about to be an orbital sunset. You also see the payload adapter. Alex, I love how the payload adapter kind of flares out, so we can see absolutely nothing from this. Beautiful. Some great shots.
Those views
there.
are really, really great. But yeah, you wanted stats. The landing was the 171st in a row, as I was mentioning before, since the last landing failure. And this was also SpaceX's 84th launch of the year. Yeah, 84th, counting Starship, obviously. 83rd for the whole Falcon fleet. So that's a nice stat, because they're getting close to 100 this year.
That's incredible. And so with that milestone, Alex, are we on track, do you think, to meet the 100 launches per year? Or are we going to be a little short of that right now?
Well, you know what? I have a spreadsheet for that.
Of course you do. That's why I asked you.
and so the other day yesterday with the transporter mission, I had my spreadsheet. I have a thing that basically calculates basically how many they will be able to do if they keep the current trend and current cadence. And so I had 96 as the potential. I'm just updating mine right now with this launch, and it's showing 97. That is the first time in this year that I see they might be on track for 96 and 97. So that is a lot of launches, but they're very close.
I mean, even 97, even though that's not 100, but that is still an incredible number for one company. Like, that is the stats for a whole developed country. SpaceX is the majority of launches from the US, and I think probably the majority of launches from the world in terms of per company. It's incredible to see the progress that they've made here with Falcon, and that it continues to speed up, and that next year will be even better. I have no doubt next year they'll surpass. They will surpass 100, maybe 120 launches. It's crazy to see. But on that note, and after this launch of O3B mPOWER, we're going to call this live stream quits here. We want to thank you, of course, all for watching, everyone for sending in their support. Even hitting that like button is an immense amount of support, and we appreciate anyone and everyone who tuned into the stream today. Always glad to have you here for another Falcon 9 launch, and it wasn't a Starlink launch, so little cause for celebration there. But of course, I want to thank everyone who was here alongside me in the stream today. Alex, you are our Falcon 9 expert. Thank you once again for showing up to basically every stream this year that we've had for Falcon 9.
It was a pleasure, and definitely look out for the next launch, because that is a special one. That is the launch. It's a Starlink! The next launch is a Starlink. So
I cannot wait.
Tune into that one, because it's actually, I think it's about maybe 14 hours before the supposedly Starship launch next Friday. So yeah, next Thursday, that's the next launch. Another Starlink as well, so we'll see.
Great. We're looking forward to that. And we also had in the background 2 operators, Patrick and Gav. Thank you to the both of you for pushing the buttons, pulling the levers, and keeping the stream afloat. And of course, we had Max Evans providing us some amazing tracking shots and pad shots today of the launch. So thank you to Max for that. And of course, I've been your host, Ian Atkinson, for today's live stream today. Thank you once again for tuning in. We appreciate all of you watching, and we will see you on the next live stream. Have a good weekend, everyone.
And here we go.
good.